Alright guys, here we are at the Yas Marina circuit, and we're here for our predictions, but first and foremost we gotta do our track walk. So basically what the point of this is to kind of explain the track, and that'll help us give an idea of what's important at this track. You know, is qualifying more important here, or are there a lot of passing opportunities, so if you mess up qualifying you'll be okay? That's not the case here. Or is, managing your race pace better, managing your temperature, stuff like that. So, this first section of the track you can't really pass on. You just want to maintain your speed as fast as possible. Imagine like Sector 3 at Qatar. That's kind of what that's like. So here's the first passing opportunity. This was a big change they made in 2021. So this is super long straightaway, so you want to maintain your speed with the guy behind, and then you can really shove your nose down here. So obviously you want to defend on the inside there, and there is a lot of space, but you can push people wide and push them off the track. So I would expect to see a little bit of aggression there, as this is one of the few actual passing zones on the track. So this is one of the longest straightaways on the calendar. It's of course a DRS zone. But it's not really a passing point. It depends how fast your straightaway speed is, and that's one thing that's super duper important at this track is your straightaway speed, because there's a lot of these pretty big straightaways. So maintaining high straightaway speed is very important, and of course you slam hard as you can on the brakes here. You actually do use a bit of the curb, but obviously you don't want to hit the inside orange part, as I did in the Assetto Corsa over and over again yesterday. So it's not the corner's so tight, it's not really a passing point, but you can force your car in there. You know, you're going to get a few jokers in there, like, not like jokesters. I mean, like, you're going to have a few times where you push people off the track, and that's allowed because it's just so hard to pass there. So speaking of another DRS that's kind of hard to pass on, it's this one here. But it's not really a passing point here, because all you have to do to avoid people passing you here is just use the inside. Because you see, it's a nice mid-speed corner, so if you just keep the inside and keep pushing them to the outside, because there's runoff, you can't say, hey, I didn't ruin their race or anything, I ran them off the track, but I didn't, I didn't ruin their race, right? I was just defending. I'm just defending, bro. So, yeah, hard to pass there, impossible to pass here. This is a really fun section. It's a fun track to drive, like, time trials on. But, again, no way you're passing here. Absolutely no passing opportunities here. You got to just go as fast as possible through here. It's a nice, it's a challenging little section. And then on the power as hard as you can, and this is flat here. And you do occasionally see people try and pass on this final turn here. But again, it's quite difficult. There's a little elevation change. You can see that the inside of the track is lower than the outside of the track. So it's actually a little difficult to stick your nose in here and not just like go off like that and just push people off the track. So all right. What's good here? Well, you just heard it. You need to qualify really well here because it's really hard to pass. It's super easy to get DRS trains going. If you don't know what a DRS train is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a group of cars that are all in DRS range of each other, and they can't pass each other. So that happens all the time in that back straight. And so you need to qualify really well. You need really good straight line performance, and don't crash like Nicholas Latifi. So, all right, let's get to the predictions. Alright, let's get it out of the way first, the Constructors Battles. So if you don't know, this is for P1 and P6 in the Constructors Championship respectively. So it is possible for RB to still get the P6, but they're the lowest, and then it's Haas, and then it's Alpine, who actually has the P6 right now. And I do think Alpine will keep that P6 in the Constructors for 4 big reasons, despite the fact that they have Jack Doohan and not Esteban Ocon this time, since Ocon is officially dropped out. Mutually, of course, I'm aware of that. So for one, RB is more or less out of the Constructors, but Yuki is historically very good here and will likely grab points. As for Lawson, who knows for sure, but I think Yuki is good enough to get up Haas's nose here. And here also, Haas has been consistently inconsistent. I mean, they're quick, but they usually only get one of the 2 drivers in the points, while the other one just seems to flounder. That's how it's been almost every single race. It's hard to believe that this time will be any different and they'll both get points. I don't see that. I think only one of the drivers is going to get points. Which one? Who knows. Probably Hülkenberg, but could be Magnussen. And also, Aston Martin was great here last year, and they've been making a bit more of a stride coming back into the points. So all they would really need is Alonso, P10 through 8, to take points away from Haas. And fourth here, Pierre is on an absolute roll. This isn't a super mega track for him or anything like that, but I think points, if not high points, is actually available for him, especially if he keeps that qualifying form up. And now onto P1 in the Constructors. Between Ferrari and McLaren, it's the definition of a toss-up, but I'll still give it to McLaren. Both teams are so close pace-wise, and in terms of their driver pairings, they're very close as well, that being both drivers are almost always on pace. And with the cars being close pace-wise as well, they'll likely be neck and neck throughout, meaning that McLaren will maintain their lead in my opinion. Not to mention Max has been historically insane at this track and will take a high point scoring position away from the Ferrari and McLaren teams, therefore allowing McLaren to keep their lead. So there's not much to say for Sauber or Williams, but for different reasons. The Williams car itself is being held together with crazy glue after all their accidents, so they will simply not perform well, nor will either driver want to push and risk another accident. I mean, obviously there's no more races this year, but still, for appearance's sake. And even though Sauber is on the up and up, they have never ever been very good at this track. Points are highly unlikely for them, unfortunately, as much as I want them to finish on a high. So as for Mercedes, well, the track will be quite warm, so we may see them back in their iconic 4th fastest car mode. I wouldn't expect anything too crazy from them. There's no reason to believe they'll be mixing it up with Max, Ferrari, and McLaren. As for Lewis, I don't think he'll be too defeatist at this race, but I think he checked out after the British Grand Prix. To me, that was his real send-off for Mercedes, I feel. Ever since then, he hasn't seemed that into it. So my top 5, it's a toss-up. But I guess I'll just say P1, Charles Leclerc, P2, Max Verstappen, P3, Lando Norris, P4, Oscar Piastri, and P5, Carlos Sainz. I'll say the biggest what if here is sort of Carlos Sainz. It depends on how he's feeling about this race. Does he want to give everything he has for another shot at Ferrari once Lewis Hamilton's done? Or is he just kind of over this team and will just bring the car home wherever it comes? And of course Max Verstappen as well. Is the Red Bull back all the way in form? And if so, he'll just take P1 no problem. Or will the Red Bull suddenly be off the pace again and he'll just be in like P5 or something? It's hard to say. But again, P1, Charles Leclerc, P2, Max Verstappen, P3, Lando Norris, P4, Oscar Piastri, and P5, Carlos Sainz. That's just my prediction. So alright, let's get to it. The final race of the season. I'm really looking forward to it. Let's hope for an upset, but let's also hope that nobody has something tragic happen. Alright, and thanks for watching.